So you join me while I go from one of my offices to another office, one of my other offices. Anyways, the video I wanted to create today, I want you to share this. I want to say this beforehand. This is something that was bugging me, and it has been bugging me for a long time. It is, why is India not yet classified as a developed country? It's kind of weird that, you know, India is the #1 consuming state in the world. It's the biggest manpower in the world after China, and all of these things, but you still don't consider India as a superpower or India as the developed nation. So why is that still so? The weird thing, I'll tell you, how are they classifying developed nations? Developed nations are classified by selecting an income group, that is the average income of a nation, and they have their own yardstick. They'll say that, if you are below this, then you are not developed, and if you are above this, it's developed. I think that is kind of weird, because it's like measuring different kinds of height. If you're measuring different heighted people at with one stick and saying that, okay, this person is so and so height, but this person is not so and so height because he is short. I'll try to explain it to you. So how it works is, you have one measurement, that is the average income of a country. You have the average income of a country, and that is classified and measured along with across all the world, and whoever is the top so and so above certain percentage. America is not the most expensive place. I'll say Switzerland is the most expensive place. America is 79th and Switzerland is 133, so that is how expensive it is compared to America. So that, don't think of it that way. What I think we should be doing is, instead of all this, we should actually measure a ratio between the average income of a country and the average expense. Because if I'm earning so and so amount in India, it doesn't mean anything compared to what a middle class earns over in the US. Okay? But that being said, my expenses are so much less compared to, my utility bills are less, my everything is less, cost of living is less. So you should factor in a ratio that has cost of living and your average income, and then you should see how much there is surplus, and that should be how you should say that, okay, this country is developed, this country is not developed. I'll give you the answer. I ran all the numbers. I told my assistants to run the numbers. I ran all the numbers, a few of the numbers, and I have all in my head right now. Yes, I can buy out numbers. So the average income in the US, annual income, is, wait for it, $78,000 a year. That is your average income throughout the year. Do you know what the average cost of living is across the US? It's $86,000 a year. How is that possible? I don't know. Maybe you guys are used to credit cards so much that you don't. No, I'll tell you how that comes. How the expense and the ratio is selected. The average, certain places in the US are really expensive to live. So LA and California and New York, of course they are going to be more expensive. The cost of living is going to be more high. Okay. Similarly, the average, so you average it out, it comes to that. The average income is only 76. So that is, whereas the average expense is 86. Cost of living is 86. Let's compare that to India. What is your average cost of living, average income in India? Average income is 15,000 rupees a month, not year, a month. I have heard people say a year. That's outrageous. We are not Somalia, and even Somalia has higher than that, I think. So 15,000 rupees a year, that's close to about $250 a month is the average income. The funny thing is the average cost of living across India, because there is still, there are still rural places in India, the average cost of living is only 12,600 rupees. You heard me right, it is 12,600 rupees, and this is a good level of, it's an okay level of lifestyle. It's not some living in a dump, and it's a okay level of lifestyle. You can have all the amenities you want and you can have a comfortable life. It's not going to be super ultra rich or anything, but it's going to be just comfortable enough to live. You will be able to have phones, and you will be able to have all the communication lines, utility lines, everything, and also you will be able to eat 3 times a day. That's the expense. Okay, so how does this come into play with all that I'm saying right now? What can you do? The cost of living, it shouldn't be just the ratio. I think if you look at this way, India is already developed, because the average income, above that you have a certain savings. This is a country that has bought most of your, it's kind of weird that we are the number one consumers, we are the number one in so many things, but still we are struggling on this list, because you are measuring it with a yardstick that you yourself has created. That is the weird thing. So let's stop this. Let's use our heads, and once that is done, then you will be able to understand that India is not so bad. Let's consider that it can be developed, and in fact I would say that the lifestyle nowadays all across the world, it's just the government trying to say that we are better or they are better or whatever. But I would say that everywhere it's about the same. You need a certain amount of lifestyle, to afford that you have to be rich. Otherwise you are just average middle class. Most of the population in the world is middle class. It's the blinders that you have been set and given, that like your lifestyle is better. Your lifestyle is no better than any other place, most of the places which you can consider to be developed. Of course you can't compare it to certain African countries, or certain countries where there is poverty, where there are actual problems. And I'm not saying that here that India is perfect. India has its own problems. We have our own political problems, our socio-economic, all of these problems are there, but so do you. So does every country in the world. No one is perfect. Let's take off the blinders and stop thinking that India is a land of snake charmers. If that is the case, you come here, I invite you myself. You will be surprised what you will see in India. You will be surprised the affluence. You will be surprised of all the amenities that you can get. Most of the high-end brands in the world, 99% of them are in India. Why would they be here if there is no market? There is a market for that. There is the biggest growing middle class in the world, and you have the average income that is higher than what it is in China. So that's the reason why India is attractive. So let us just, I'm not creating this to boast, or I'm not creating this to start a comment fight or anything like that. I'm just trying to say, let us open our minds. Let us think about what we are saying and what we are doing. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Share this with all your friends, Indian friends, American friends, any other friends. And I'm not just making this for India, I'm making this for the rest of the world also. Anyone who is thinking or having themselves in certain list, developed country list or not developed country list, let's forget about all this. It's much more complex than that. You can't just put us on a list and say that okay, we are developed or we are underdeveloped. Share this. I'll see you in the next video.